Hello, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all our respected viewers. Once again, welcome on Youth Matters with me, your host Sakeina Habib. And uh, today I would like to ask many of you a very relevant question, and that is that have you all been facing lately, have you been facing burnout? Over the last couple of weeks, a lot of people have been actually complaining that there's a sudden rise in high school students facing burnout, in parents facing burnout, in teachers at school facing burnout. So there are like different types of burnouts, and if I would just like to simplify it, burnout is an emotional state of exhaustion, cynicism, and feelings of inadequacy. So while this feeling is often associated with, if you're like a high school student, it's often associated with senior year and the stress of getting into college. Statistics actually show that it affects students at all grade levels. And basically, burnout for people who are working, right? Who are like in the workforce sector. So burnout happens usually when you are doing something repeatedly, like when you are continuously, doing a lot of work and there are no flexible hours, and you're doing the same fixed thing. It's the same mundane routine, and you're not getting enough motivation, or you're not being probably appreciated. And when it comes to even your emotional empathy, nobody's like really talking about it much. So it's like a very robotic life, and that's why people really get exhausted and tired. If we were to look at some of the statistics, about 30% of high school students report experiencing burnout during the academic year. And as you know that, we are already, of course, we've started the academic year. For many students from last month, many people are now back to their normal school routines, college routines, and everything. Did you know that female students are 20% more likely to experience burnout than male students? So that is also another thing to look into. And students with part-time jobs report 25% higher burnout levels. And burnout correlates strongly with academics and workload anxiety. That is what about 58% of the reports say. And then also, students from low income backgrounds and urban areas are more susceptible to burnout. So if you even look into the statistics lately, like if we actually would see the graph or the bar chart, it would show that increased burnout rates have been observed post COVID-19 pandemic, and they are rising. They have risen from about 3.8% in 2014 to 7.4% in 2025 in Europe today. So yes, there's a lot going on, and that's why on today's program we're going to be discussing more about what is a high school burnout, what are the symptoms, what are the causes, what are some of the solutions that we can look into. So I'll be having a special guest joining me on today's program. I have Nishat Fatma Jafri, and she'll be sharing her personal experiences and reflections with us as well. And we're gonna be delving into the whole topic, in depth. So, Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Nishat? Hope you're well. It's
Walaikum
lovely to
as-
have you with us.
wal- Walaikum assalam. I'm good. Hope you are also doing well. Yeah, I'm quite glad for this opportunity that I've been given. So
Yeah,
excited to
same here,
share my
Nishat.
perspective.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so here, Nishad, I'm really happy to be talking about this. Before we move on, this is what I was talking about earlier on. If you can just show it on the screen again. So this is the student burnout rates, right, that I was talking about, that have, risen between 2014 to 2022. And you can see the levels have really increased. Back in 2014, we see that the level was around 3.8%. And right now in 2020, okay, 2022, let's say 2025, we're seeing that it has come to almost 11.8%. So this shows that as the years have progressed, the student burnout rates have also highly increased. Okay, So now we're gonna be moving on to our normal So, Nishat, let's start off by understanding that, in your perspective, like, what do you think? What is a high school burnout? What is a burnout today in 2025? Like, looking into our lifestyle today, looking into the technology today, looking into the workplace of today. Also, you being a high school student yourself. So, what do you think? What is a burnout?
Um, a burnout is when you emotionally, I feel that you shut down, where everything just feels like it's too much, like pressure from work, whether it's pressure from parents, whether it's home life, it can even be to do with your friend group, anything that you just feel like everything is just too much. So your brain kind of just feels like, oh, I can't do any of this. And then you just, because you emotionally shut down, you physically don't have the power to do anything anymore. So that's what I think burnout is mainly.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's actually true, as you said, like, when you feel emotionally shut down, and, there's a lot of fatigue and boredom as well. So I was actually going through, what do you say, some of the symptoms, and it showed that, some of the reasons for this is uh, when you have to match up to a level of having good grades in class. Okay, so
Yeah.
sometimes it becomes like a burnout when you always have to do that. Then how to fit in the society. So like fitting in the society means like trying to achieve all those expectations that people expect
Yeah.
from you, trying to please people around you, and then also getting involved in extracurricular activities. So when it becomes like too much, like extra over, well, I do say that if you want to bring a shift in your routine, the best thing you can do is try to divert or deviate yourself from the monotonous activities, right? But what one can do is that try to involve yourself, for example, in your hobbies or passion or something that you really enjoy, right? So like if you've got sport activities, some people really like to enjoy, for example, soccer, football, or basketball. And then there are people who also like to play games like Scrabble games, for example, like spelling games, just to open up your mind. Some people also like to go for like outings, like traveling, or hiking, or going for like a nice outdoor activity. So like these are some activities that can actually deviate your mind. Okay, so now let's talk about the symptoms and causes, because I want to know that how can one actually know that they're going through burnout in their lives, right? So what do you think, what are the signs and symptoms, and especially of high school students, since you are one of them? So what do you think, what are they?
Symptoms and signs I'd say are, like if are we talking like the way that you'd see someone going through burnout or to see it in yourself? Like what kind are we
So
looking at?
yeah, so I think let's start off with if by feeling it in yourself first. Let's start from the individual
Okay.
perspective. Like how can I know that I'm going through a burnout? Yeah.
Okay. I'd say personally it's when you start not caring about your physical self. So, for example, you might not do simple things like brushing your teeth or what like brushing your hair, like taking care of yourself the way you would on a normal day. Maybe skipping
Mhm.
breakfast, maybe not eating well, maybe just like rushing to do things. Like when you get ready for school, you might skip breakfast, you might not do your hair, you might not get that ready. And then there are other things where it's like when you do everything and you come back home, you feel more tired than usual. You feel like not doing things that you would usually enjoy, even if that can be like sometimes it can even be your phone. Like, personally, for me, when I know that I'm actually going through something, it's like I don't even want to look at my phone. It's like, even though many people say teenagers are now like really addicted to their phones, it's like sometimes
Yeah.
even that is like that's enough. Like you don't even want to look at that. You don't want to socialize. You'll get moody and stuff like that. That's what I'd say.
Absolutely.
Hasan.
I wanted to agree. I wanted to actually mention this point. So lately, even our algorithms have become so boring. Honestly, it's the same, repeated content. And I would actually say that since due to the environmental crisis, meaning in terms of the politics and war, we've been seeing a lot on our feeds about, Gaza, Israel, Palestine all the time. So,
Yeah.
yes, that is good. You should be aware about it, but it's become so much that at one point it's like, you tend to question yourself, like, isn't this becoming too much? Because it's like causing me depression now, and it's the same thing being run, every single day. And also, I've been noticing that there's a lot of uh, like content which I don't know how to say it, but like a lot of preaching content. Like people are just preaching so much when it comes to even our
Yeah.
Islamic content. And honestly, it becomes too much, because sometimes you need to have a balance on the outside as well. Like you're a human after all. So it's very important to
Yeah.
have a balance in your life and not just stick to one sided thing, the entire year, because obviously your brain will not be able to adjust that. And also, you mentioned about the point of hygiene, which is, wow, so important. It is something small, but people don't take it very seriously. When it comes to our grooming, when it comes to taking care of our hygiene, automatically we are also taking care of our mental health. If you're gonna wear the same old clothes every day, if you're not gonna come out of your bed, if you're not gonna brush your teeth, as you said, if you're not gonna care, so all these things, they make you frustrated, depressed, bored, and you're like, oh, there's nothing left in my life. Life has become so boring. So these things are
Yeah.
very important when it comes to grooming, going out, at least if, like, sometimes what happens is that we only dress up when we are invited to events or like parties, or
Yeah.
friends have called us over, right? Or like there's some event at high school or something, and that's the time we're like, okay, let's dress up now. But we should make it a habitual routine, right? Like we should, time to time, it's for ourselves. It makes your heart
Yeah.
happy, right? Should do that. Yeah. So you see, if you see, you can see on the screen, it's not very clear. Like, it's not very stretched out, but I just want to share that how what are some of the factors that impact workers, especially when it comes to stress. So sometimes they feel unmotivated. For example, 26% of them, they feel unmotivated. Sometimes it's anger, frustration, irritability. Some feel that they're not being as productive enough, like 20% of them. Okay, so when it comes to the part of productivity, right? So some days when people do feel burnout, have you noticed that they don't feel like doing anything? Like, it happens to me sometimes. I would say that I'm not taking any commitments today. I just want to relax, be on my couch or be on my bed, enjoy my a nice warm meal, and maybe binge watch something really cool,
Yeah.
nice. So sometimes it's you like, I feel guilty that, oh, I'm not done enough today, something's wrong with me. But actually, nothing's wrong with you. Sometimes it's good to just chill, just to take a
Yeah.
break from your main routine, because it's good to like energize yourself. And after like a week, you will notice that there is a change in you, and now you want to get up, and you
Yeah.
want to do something. And it's that, how we study in physics, like when there's that bouncing energy, right? Like when you stretch something, and then it hits back, it bounces back with a
Yeah.
better, greater, right? Yeah. So something like that, I think we should time to time uh have those things also within our routine. Okay, so I want to hear from you now. Tell me that, which students are most at risk for experiencing burnout according to you. What have you noticed, like, be it academically, be it emotionally, mentally, physically? What would you say?
Um, to be fair, I don't think there's like in this generation, I believe that all students are at risk for experiencing burnout, like at least the majority of them, let's say, because of the amount of pressure that, because it comes from different things. It's not just your home life, it's not just school life, it's not just work life. It can be like we said, social media and the amount of things on
Mm-hmm.
it. It can be about, somebody could be worrying about like the world or what's going to happen, like overthinking it, and like they might feel unmotivated to do anything because they feel that, oh, the world's going to end soon, or it's going to be terrible living conditions soon, so what's the point of me working so hard if it's not going to contribute
Exactly.
to anything. So that can be a big factor, and because that's one of the biggest factors, I'd say, like everyone has a phone, everyone has access to that. I feel like it's a underlying issue that everyone thinks about but nobody really discusses, and because you don't discuss it, I feel like it gets to them more. So all students need like this kind of communication with adults, with their friends, with whoever they trust about whatever they're experiencing, because I think that many students of this generation will say that, oh, I'm depressed, or social media also romanticizes a lot of mental health stuff, so people might use the word depression and things really easily, when it's like that's actually a really bad disorder. Like, you don't want that. You can say you're upset, but don't go to that level. And burnout, I feel like burnout is, if you don't do anything about burnout, then it can lead towards that. So we should like work on getting it, communicating, and taking every student seriously. Just because somebody who looks really happy, you think, oh, they might never get burnout, and then somebody who looks really moody, upset, you might think, oh, they're always like this. Like, no, maybe both of them have the same amount. You don't know that, you can't tell. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So sometimes, what happens is that when people see that, you're actually being able to multitask, okay, like in many areas, there are some people who are like very popular in this, like they can manage everything, they can do a lot of
Yeah.
multitasking, and so people, shove in more responsibilities on these kind of people. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this person can, manage this, so let's add on more to this person. uh, you know and honestly, I feel like that is quite unfair at times, because as you said, even this person might, who might be looking like they can multitask and are happy, and they're moving about and everything, are feeling the burnout, right? They are also feeling
Yeah.
exhausted on the inside, because if they're not communicating to you, they're not like revealing their feelings to you, that doesn't mean that they're not going through something as well. And at one point it becomes too much for this person, that finally they, want to back out from the situation, like they don't want to
Yeah.
continue doing those tasks as efficiently as they were. I feel like the efficiency also then decreases somewhere, because you're not as
Yeah.
efficient, you're not putting in that much passion the way you used to, in whatever it may be. So absolutely, you're right. What about parents and teachers, Nishat? What do you think? How can parents and teachers help us by recognizing the early warning signs of burnout?
Um, in schools and teacher wise, I believe that like in my school they were really good, especially my A level teachers. Like they always told us continuously that as much as you study, there should still be some time where you're enjoying what you want, whether it's watching a movie, whether it's hanging out with your friends. Even during like peak A level season, mid exams, they were like, instead of focusing us on the fact that we really need to study, because obviously every student already knows that, they were telling us, take a break, go out, and maybe, whenever you have some time, talk to your friends, instead of continuously pushing the narrative of study, 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 because obviously students already know that they don't need to be told that continuously. It's their exams, they know that's their main thing. So telling them and helping them and guiding them that it's okay to take a break, you're not going to fail. Like, that's actually going to help you be more productive and learn better, focus better when you are studying. And then with parents, I'd say that they can help with, like I said, with burnout. You might notice small things in your child, like, oh, they might not be eating properly, or they might not be taking care of themselves. And I feel like as parents, you can do those things for them whilst they're in that stressed situation. You can maybe do their hair for them, cut some fruit for them, remind them to eat, just check in on them, make sure they're doing well whilst they are in their focused mode or whatever. And just be really patient and gentle. I'd say even when they're moody, you just have to be gentle, to say that it's okay, it's okay that you're like this. I can, it'll get better. And you have to be the patient one so that they can, because if it's just both are angry, then it's just going to lead to more burnout, more arguments, and that's not going to help either side. So being patient and understanding each other, I think that's the key.
Wow, I actually I'm a bit envious over here because your A-level teachers are so good and understanding. When you said that, they're giving you like, oh, that aspect of like, you can take a break, be productive. So of course, every A-level teacher or every system is different, and of course, based on our generations. So I guess in our time we had a bit of a greater academic pressure. There was a lot of comparison
Yeah,
with other students, and so yeah, we didn't like get much of this, like as you said, like, have a break time till you're being productive. No, it was nothing like that. It was like, no, you have to put in the effort, otherwise you're gonna fail. So it's up to you. Do you want your parents to
yeah. I think,
fail to pay again, like again for this year, pay your fees again for this year? These are the kind of comments
yeah,
that we used to get. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's because nowadays, instead of adults telling children that you're gonna fail, you're gonna do this, the children already think that way. Like children or the students are the ones who are telling others. Like I've seen lots of kids like say to their parents or teachers like, no, like I had a friend, she got A's in everything, mashallah, and she was like, she's really good, and she got into the university she wanted to. She was one of the top students in our whole sixth form, and sometimes she'd get like a grade below. And for example, there's this thing called predicted grades, and her predicted grade was a B, but she was getting A's, and she was so stressed about that. And I was like, why are you stressing? You got into the university you wanted. Your parents know you're getting A's. This is just a predicted grade. You've gone beyond that. It doesn't matter anymore. But to her, it did matter. It mattered so much. Like, she would be like really stressed about it. She would cry about it, and she would go to the teacher and talk a whole thing, like, why is my predicted grade this? Why is it not this? Like, and I was like, look, you have everything. Like, why why are you still, worried? And it's like, it's the students are different now, I think. Their own mindsets are very different compared to how the previous generation was. We already know what we are expected to do without anyone telling us that we expect this of you.
Yeah, you're right. And I think this is all coming from, the knowledge which is out there, right? Like as you said, I
Yeah,
think we spoke about this, like the use of our gadgets and social media. So, social media is making us more aware about things that basically we were unaware of, to be honestly
yeah,
speaking about, because like every information, every feeling, every emotion, every thought is available on our social media platforms, and so it basically trains your mind how to think in a certain way, in a certain pattern, and that
yeah,
deeply impacts us, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I can resonate with that point as well. uh what about how what about okay, let's talk about the academic pressure roles. Like, what role do academic pressure, social life, and family dynamics play in burnout? So I think you said that how parents should like take care care of with like very small things. For example, uh, maybe serving us with a bowl of fruits sometimes, making us a nice meal, combing our hair at times, especially girls, because when I remember when like during A levels time, it was like so stressful. So there were days when I didn't get time to comb hair, especially if you have long hair. And then if mummies come and help us with that at least, so it makes a huge difference, right? So uh and it also, the tension in your mind which is there, it releases when you like comb your
Yeah.
hair and everything. Yeah, so like these are some small things. I mean, of course it may sound like, oh, what is this, it's something so small. It actually makes a difference, right, as you said. So what do you think, like how can our family, how can our society generally, and our academic play a role in helping us with this burnout?
Um, in helping, I'd say that I think we just have to be more patient instead of jumping to conclusions and accusations. Like, you should try to, if you see someone struggling, I think you should try to understand them before you, say that, oh, they're like this, or, this is what they must be going through. No, ask them what they're going through. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's not the way that you think. And like, as friends, it's always said that always check up on your friends. You never know what they might be going through, because like I said, like, not everyone shows it. Every Most people would just look fine, they look okay, especially when they're obviously with the people they love most. They're gonna be fine, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't ask about how they've been, how they are, and what they're doing. And with social life, like, teachers can help to, if you like, there's always, I feel like there might not be for everyone, but some people, like some students, you can find that one teacher that you might be able to be like talk to be sweet with, and she might understand you. If you don't have that, you have a close friend. If you don't have that, you might have a family member. Reach out to your cousins, to your aunties. They're all there for you, so you should do that. But it doesn't just depend on your surroundings or the people around you. It also depends on the person going through it as well, because if you yourself don't reach out, then you can't blame others for never asking either. So, I think the role of academic pressure has a big role, because it's like our first look into our own independent lives. And it feels like, oh, this is too much. And then, so we just need to understand that it's okay. You have people, you have support. There's loads of websites, like mental health websites, you can reach out to, you can talk to help you with that kind of thing.
Right, right, absolutely. So, okay, if we can just quickly see on the screen as well, this is just a little research for burnout signs and symptoms up to 50% worldwide in 2024, where it was analyzed that across 30 global cities, what was the rate of burnout sentiment. And if you can see, London has the highest so far, okay, with 2,240. 91% of UK
Mhm.
workers high or extreme stress in the past year. And then, around around some other places, like for example, if you see in the US, you've got 57% of US workers, they are facing these negative effects from work stress. Then you've got in Australia, you've got 64%, and then in Singapore as well, you've got 47%. So I was just like looking up at, the demographics, like, in which parts of the world or in which parts of the countries does burnout exist the most. And it said that, okay, so China comes first, and then there's Finland, and then there's the UK, the entire UK, and of course, then in other parts of the world. So this is just to give like people an idea with statistics, like, how much burnout actually exists out there, and how much it's actually real. So for people to understand that, it's a serious issue. Okay, so we're just gonna wrap up the program now, Nishat, because we've headed towards the end of our conversation. I just want you to give us like a solid advice on how can, as a high school student, what are some of the small things that you do on a daily basis
Yeah.
to cut down on the burnout. And also, do you think that it affects your mental health? Do you think it can affect someone's mental health in the long term and your academic performance? And that's it. Yeah, that's it. If you can just answer it as much.
So I think that long term, yes, it can impact your mental health because it can obviously go if you don't do anything about it, it can go into depression, and depression can heavily impact your academic performance because it's like depression is a state where you have no motivation, you don't have any hope left essentially. So because of that, obviously you're not going to do well for on your academic performance, you're not going to care enough to do well because obviously you have all these dark thoughts that come in your head where it's like, "Oh, it's not worth it, it's all useless." But for advice and well tips, what I'd say to do is that when you feel like everything is too much and you don't want to do anything and you just want to be in bed or just watch something, I'd say maybe don't like rely on your devices. Maybe go for a walk, or maybe sit down with your family in the living room for a little while. Feel like even if you don't want to talk, you can sit down and listen to whatever they're discussing. Maybe that'll be nice. Some family time, some socializing, Don't fall into the doom scrolling on the phones and stuff because that's not going to help because there's just so much on that phone. It can make it worse. And always believe in hope and believe that you have God by you. Try to do small things. If you can't do big things, you feel like, oh, this is all too much, make a little list of it. Do the smallest things you can, even if that's like organizing your papers or something. Maybe just try to eat little by little and just take care of yourself. And I think that will help a lot and to reduce it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. There's such beautiful, nice details that you've shared. I mean, I loved each one of them, and they truly do make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I hope that, on a daily basis, we tend to take care of ourselves as much as we can. So, that can, improve our health, our mental self, and everything much, much better. Anyways, thank you so much, Nishat, for joining me on today's program. It was amazing to have you. And thank you for sharing your viewpoints. And yeah, I hope that the viewers will really benefit from today's discussion. So thank you.
No worries, inshallah. It'll be for the best. You know.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm also
Thank you to all.
thankful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nisha. Thank you to all our viewers for tuning on today's program and for benefiting from this conversation. And please make sure to share this episode as many people as you can, and do give us a thumbs up. And yeah, inshallah, I'll be catching up. Inshallah, and yeah, please take care of yourselves. This is your host Sakina Habib signing off. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.